music on this. Straight to it. Right at it.
Okay.
We should have done surrounded by the cats. All right. Are we live up there now? Looks like we're live everywhere. Welcome to Wednesday night. I've got to get the chat set up somehow too. I don't know where that is. Over there, maybe chat message. Okay, so yeah, I've got the chat set up. If you guys are on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, you want to go ahead and send a message in, go ahead and do it. We are live on all 4 platforms underneath Team Blaney right now. And tonight we were going to do something, I called it his victory celebration, post-race victory celebration. And we forgot the party streamers again. We were supposed to do it Monday night.
Yeah, we were.
But what we wanted to talk about a little bit tonight was about our fortune and being at a race. Like we talked on Monday about how to handle the end of that race because of all the drama.
Yeah.
And then what we did is start talking about how many races we've been to where he's actually won. And how much different it is to be at the race. Like, so Adam and Tara, of course, we know we're at Nashville. And this is the third one I think I've seen them win now. They got Daytona. They got the first Martinsville and Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen 5. We've been fortunate enough, and it's because we don't go to every race either, so it's been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
And we will put a little list together of the 5, and then we're going to talk about just some of the different things. And so if you, like I said, if you're popping in on Facebook and YouTube and you either got some questions or some stories that you know, that you could type in there about where you were and what you've seen. Ryan has won 14 Cup races now, 15 things if you count the All-Star. And, the championship was actually second place finish, but won a championship. And some of you don't know, we're based like out in the East. So we got, we didn't really, we have furthest west now we've been as Kansas. So, we've kind of gotten lucky too, because, anything that's happened, not any further out of that. But Stella Naria said here she got 2 Cup wins and because Xfinity, like during the period, I don't think I've ever seen Ryan live race an Xfinity win live or a Truck Series race live.
No.
Of course, our history kind of starts at the point he's in the Cup Series, right?
Well, no, the first race we went to together
was
Mid-Ohio.
Okay, that was Xfinity. That's right. We did see an Xfinity race. Finished second to Justin Marks, of all people. So 2018 Texas. Okay. There it is. So the first one we got to see live, the first Ryan when we got to see live was, you have the dates there too, don't you?
Yeah, the Roval. That was the first Cup win.
Yeah.
We had seen.
Live.
Yeah. I saw a truck win.
Oh, that's right. See? There we go. That's
Mom and I went to Pocono. Hi, Mom. And if you're there, hi. And we saw him win the trucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that on a Friday or was that on a Saturday?
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't remember?
I mean, we're talking like 2015. I don't.
Was that what year was? Okay, because the thing is like.
It was the same year we met you.
Oh, okay. So the day before. Then, yeah. And we were there to see Dave, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or I was. You won the tickets for.
I won both.
Oh, that's right. You were both things.
I won tickets. One with Tommy Baldwin racing in, and I won one with Pocono.
Okay.
The Speedway. So.
Okay, and that's how you got the Truck Series.
Yeah.
So of all the races we've been to, I don't know, we've been to a couple before Ryan's win, right? The first one we saw.
Yeah, that wasn't the first Cup race we've been to.
So the first, what was the September of 2018? Okay. Mm-hmm. Was the Roval. That was the first one we were at together and saw. Now the tickets we got, it was the first robo race, so I had no idea. No idea where to or anything like that, and up where the cars come up onto the track, onto the regular track for turn 1, which is really weird because when you take pictures after the race, we took pictures of the win, and it was like almost like back behind us where the start finish line is, because you turn left and it's like over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we were. Now we had already started listening to the spotter stuff at that point, with Josh and everything, and the victory itself was pretty cool. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember much about that trip at all to Charlotte? Did we stay somewhere near the track or Mooresville or what?
I don't remember where we. I mean, it's quite a ways back. All I remember about that race was we were kind of in turn 1, and we were surrounded by like 22-year-olds.
Yeah,
it felt like Chuck E. Cheese over there.
A young crowd.
Very young crowd. We were the only Blaney fans in our section, which was, well, no, it was still, you don't, like, there weren't as many fans you would see all the time, but it was growing. But there was nobody around us that were Ryan fans. And I remember watching you when Jimmy Johnson hit Martin Truex, and then wait, is that right? And then Truex backed and took Johnson spun
out and then backed across the track
and bumped into Truex. I remember seeing that, and then I turned and watched you because I knew that was the first time you were ever going to see him win, like at all.
That's right, because you were.
And you were. I remember because everybody around us was so loud all race long because there wasn't a whole lot for us to scream and shout about, and then it all turned around at the very end because then they all got really quiet and you were loud enough for everybody. Well, we both were. But
yeah, we turned heads because at that point Ryan's fandom hadn't really grown yet either. You know, that was early on still. He'd only won, he won Pocono, a year or two earlier. So it wasn't like there were a lot of people like already wearing his shirts and stuff like that there at the track.
A little bit, but I mean, it was more than like when we would go and it would be very few and far between to see like someone else wearing Dave stuff. But it was a little bit more, but not a whole lot. Look, he said he's going tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, going tomorrow?
We'll see Sunday.
Oh yeah, we'll be there Sunday. People will ask too, like Sunday where we're going to be. And the only thing I can guarantee is I usually try to get to the tweet up. So that's the only thing I can guarantee. We definitely want to go to the Family Foundation tent. So
I will be about 50 feet away from the tweet up.
From the tweet up, yes. It's a little bit of a crowd.
It gets real congested.
Yeah. So that's who's that? What's it say?
NASCAR Dennis.
NASCAR Dennis. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I say people's names too, so that
hopefully we see you.
I see Racing Jason. I know Racing Jason's going. He's from Michigan. What's that? Oh, okay. David Tracy. So happy to see Blaney finish one out without something dumb happening. Like Darlington. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely on that note, because that was the last 30 laps. It was like no caution. Mm-hmm. We don't want no restarts, nothing like that. It was really, really cool. And it's a couple of races we'll talk about in the future. That's kind of the way those races went too. It's like, nothing, please. We're already doing what we need to do. So I think the next one on the list was actually, it was 2021.
Yeah.
The Daytona Summer Race.
Yep.
And that one was a heck of a story.
Want
to start that one?
Well, that was August of 2021. So that was a year, not quite a year and a half into COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is still locked down pretty much. Some things were getting a little better, but a lot of things were still locked down. Where I worked, everything was locked down. In fact, they were, and I've never told anyone besides like our circle.
Mm-hmm.
They had signs up that said actually that if you went anywhere that was like a hot spot, basically you couldn't go to those kind of places. You couldn't go anywhere that certain states they didn't want us going to, and things like that. And then on Wednesday of that week, the foundation. Oh wait, foundation. They did a contest.
Did a contest
something,
and,
and
and
of course you got in it because we always
do
get into anything like that.
Just like on Instagram, Knopf Insulation has a thing on Instagram. You go on their Instagram page, you find the it should be their pinned thing. I have to throw this in there. And if you put your name and go Ryan and then tag somebody, you have a chance to win a gift card to Fanatics for $50. So Knopf Insulation stepping up this week. So check that out. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. So the contest.
It wasn't on Wednesday. It was before that because they announced the winner on Wednesday. Because all of a sudden you were just like, you're not going to believe this. And maybe other words came out. But we ended up winning, and we looked at each other and we were like, well, what do we do? Are we seriously going to go to Daytona this weekend? We don't have time off. We don't have, I mean, that's a 14-hour, 15-hour drive.
And it was a Sunday night or Saturday night race. So it kind of afforded a little bit of time to get there and back.
Yeah, we kind of looked at each other, we're like, well, logistically, if we left the second I got home from work
on Friday
and just barreled through, I think we might have, I don't remember if I had gotten the hotel rooms like on the way or what, but we were like, we have to do this. We just have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I told nobody. Mm-hmm. We were like, we're still going to keep it safe. We stayed away from people. You know, we did keep things as safe as we could. But yeah, we drove. As soon as I got home, the car was packed. We took off. We drove all night long. We stopped at a hotel. Our hotel was in, I don't remember where it was on the way down.
The first one I think was in North Carolina, wasn't it?
It might have been.
Yes, because we only went about 8 or 9 hours.
We checked in, got like a 4 or 5 hour nap.
Yeah.
Got up.
Showered up, cleaned up and everything.
Right back out the door. Kept going. We drove straight down to Daytona, went inside. We won 4 seats. So we ended up, because Adam and Tara were going to be there, we actually all ended up sitting together, which was really, really cool. We all know what happened. He won. It was like a dream. Like the whole weekend was like a fever dream. And then we said goodbye to them, and we literally got back in the car. We were only in the state of Florida for like 9 hours, I think, and went right back. We stayed in Georgia. Again, we went in, we got showers, we took a little nap again. This one might have been like 4 hours long. Got up, right back out, and we drove all the way back home. We went back to work at Monday morning, and nobody knew that we left. Except for my parents that watched the dog.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that we left.
Yeah, they didn't. It worked for me. They didn't care if we were.
No.
But
a lot of people didn't, but mine did.
Your company. Well, you work in the field, but yeah.
So, yeah, we're so excited to go to Michigan, David. Thank you.
So that was number 2, and that was Adam and Tara's first.
Yes, that was their first seeing him win. So that was super special, and seriously, the whole thing, it was like we went back to work and it was like, did we just go to Daytona and watch Ryan win and then turn around and come back? Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Interesting little side note with that is the tickets. So the tickets get transferred to us through it was like a Ticketmaster type of thing, but you see the person's name for some reason we saw the person's name on the transfer. It was Brian's mom.
Yeah.
So because of the foundation and so forth, but
shout out to Mama Blaney.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool, like a surreal thing to look at. But the seats were exquisite,
wonderful
seats too. That's the thing.
It was wonderful.
They didn't mess around. They were up pretty high. We could see everything that happened, including we
were coming out of like turn 4.
Yeah.
So
into the
we can see all of that happened there on
the back stretch and everything. Yeah. And at the line.
Yeah, we got to see all of it. It was right there,
as Josh would say. So yeah, that was the second, and
yes, NASCAR Dennis. We're going to be there on Sunday.
Yeah,
we're driving up Sunday morning. Somebody wants to drive up Sunday, drive back Sunday.
Sunday,
I said, hey, if you're driving, I don't care.
We're both off. We're both off Monday, so
yes,
we are not going to get in the parking lot afterward and fight it. We may just stroll around. Wait till people leave.
So far, knock on wood, So far, it says that the weather's going to be good, but we've gotten burned by Michigan weather too many times that yes, we did take off Monday.
So then what was the next one you got? It's the next
October.
One. So it's a couple of years then before we saw another win.
Well, we were real sparse there for a while about how many races we went to because it was during the pandemic.
So we say we've been to 5 wins, but we've technically been to 5.5, 5.5, and that's not written here because it happened in May of October 2023.
Yeah, we were down there for the foundation for the golf, right?
The second golf outing.
Yeah, and we stayed down there and just kind of like hung out, and we did like some go-karting and things like that, like little fun things. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained all the way up till the 600. We got in there, we were waiting, and they just couldn't go because of the rain.
Yeah. So what was funny is we were there Friday night because we saw the truck race Friday night.
Yep.
And then I don't even know if Xfinity got rained out on Saturday. I don't know if we were even planning on going to the Xfinity race. But Sunday we had a special kind of invitation for something there, and we were in one of the suites. Yeah, and that just was kind of cool, except for it rained. It wouldn't stop raining. Now our friends Jerry and Kirsten stayed.
They stayed
Monday.
Yep.
And my only problem with Monday was the time that they ran the race. If they would have ran the race at say noon on Monday, we might have stuck around because I could still probably drive us home and still get back in a decent hour.
Yeah, logistically, it got
just too late in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So NASCAR Dennis, we'll have to, you have to let us know where. I don't know about the campgrounds. I'm not sure about where campgrounds are and so forth up there, but who knows? Maybe we'll get together. And then I thought y'all were from PA. Actually, we're from the Ohio-Pennsylvania border.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
PHE. I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, that's the half. We don't count it because we weren't actually there, but and then October of 2023 was actually one of those ones where I used the fan rewards points. So if you guys haven't been doing this yet, you get on the NASCAR app. There's these fan rewards points. You gather them up 3 or 4 times during the week. There are code things that come up. Did you play your Powerball thing today?
Yes, I did. I only got 10 points.
Everybody gets 10 points on Wednesday, it seems like, with the Powerball thing.
It was up to like 29,000. I was so excited.
If there's 3 races in a weekend and you check in from at home, it's 50 points each race. Well, gather them up. And already this year we went to the All-Star race with them. We're going to Dover a little later this year on ones that I bought them last year because I don't think they let you keep the points. And then what we did that year is I got them for actually that was there Michigan that year we went to too, and there was the rain out, and that was what it was.
It could be.
Yeah, and then I could just shift them over or something. But anyways, what's nice about the tickets is with them is NASCAR.
Oh yeah, that was 2023.
Yeah,
because that's how we got to Martinsville.
Yeah. Oh, it was Martinsville we got those with. Okay, so that's right. So
yeah.
That was the Michigan thing. But Talladega, I already got them through the NASCAR app there, and the cool thing about it is they don't skimp on the tickets. They actually are pretty decent seats usually. They're not down near the fence where you can't see anything. They're usually in, I would say, at least mid-grade to a little higher grade seats. And for that race, we were at the entrance of pit road, which, if you know anything about Team 12, it's perfect because Team 12 loves to pick stuff that's down the end of pit road or at the beginning of pit road, as somebody would say.
Mm-hmm.
Up high enough, I don't know how good we could see the backstretch. We kind of see the tops of the cars. We really couldn't see the pass that happened at the last lap for that one.
No, but I think we could see the tops.
Yeah.
We can usually, at the very worst, we can at least see the tops of the cars.
And as we talked on these before with the headsets, we know kind of what's going on from listening to Josh and now Tim. So we could hear, that he won pretty quickly. But the thing is from where we were sitting, And the way that shape is there, it is down and away from you in such a way that the cars were literally like straight away from you. You're looking behind them as they're crossing where that start finish line is down the other end. So, but that trip, where did we even stay for that trip? Was that Chattanooga or something like that? We stayed north of the track
For Talladega?
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in Chattanooga each time.
Which is a little far north, but it's one of the only places to get
It's only like 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
One of the cheaper places to get
A hotel.
hotel and stuff. So, yeah, I'll have to check that. I'll have to check that out. NASCAR Dennis. Okay, turn 1H, row H. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see. So it's those campers that are up on the track. That's what he's trying to say. I think there, right? Row 1H, site 15, infield. Huh. We'll definitely have to check that out. So that was that was Talladega, and yeah, you're right, from Martinsville. So what we did with the Martinsville, a couple weeks later, basically, was we had tickets at Michigan that year, and part of the way into the race, it was halted for rain, and we did not plan to be there on Monday. Now, like this weekend, every time we plan to be there on Monday now,
It's been fine.
it's been fine. So I think we got to just do that from now on.
Yeah.
So that year we weren't. We didn't have planned for. So as long as the ticket didn't show being scanned again the next day, we actually could go ahead and turn it around and get credit towards something else. So those ones, actually, we bought those ones because that's what happened. Kirsten and Jerry stuck around for Monday, and actually Tara and Adam were in town. Went to Michigan. I think that's the first time they've ever been to Michigan, even though they used to live here. And we got those tickets and turned them into Martinsville for the fall of 2023. Really good seats there once again too. They were up pretty high, down at the end of the grandstand, the main grandstand. So basically ending turn 1 all the way up to the end of the grandstand. I wore a bright yellow shirt so everybody could see me on TV, and they picked me out of the crowd there. That was once again about what they were saying earlier about no cautions at the end of a race. That was one of those races where he was just ticking off laps and just destroying the field, which was great, but just did not need any kind of caution or anything like that. Hey, Bobby Nags was in here. I hope he sticks around, doesn't just jump in, jump out. But and I see Sarah. Sarah, what's up, Sarah? So yeah, I mean, if you guys got any kind of stories like that, let us know. Or you got any questions on stuff like that, let us know. But I know that was our 5th or 4th one, and it's kind of interesting that the next year.
Are we done talking about that one?
Well, I don't know. You got any stories?
Well, after he won, I mean, we had just gotten off the Talladega win, even though it was a couple weeks beforehand. But that was the last race we had gone to, and he had won. We get there to Martinsville, and he wins, and we ran from like the top of the state all the way down. I don't know how none of us broke a bone or anything, but we ran all the way down, and then we went over to where they have the mobile victory lane. And we stood down there, I think till they kicked us out, right?
Well,
we were down there for a while.
Yeah, I think both years actually, but I'm glad.
This past year we stayed even longer, but yeah, we stayed a long time down there.
Glad you brought that up too, because the victory lane for that's what we should talk about some of the other victory lanes too, because
that one's just a mobile.
It's on the track, and Martinsville's so small that if you get right down there, you're really not that far from it. And that was Chelsea and Justin's picture. So once again, a cool kind of thing about this thing about the rewards thing is if you save up enough points, you can get these experiences. And Adam and Tara, we said earlier on one of the other podcasts, they had the experience and they did it this weekend, and they got the picture of Victory Lane. And as a matter of fact, they got it today. And I think if you check out Adam's Facebook and Tara's Facebook, they posted that picture that they got today. But Chelsea and Justin did the same thing in 2023, and it's a gamble. You do it, you get the passes, you get to be down there, you get to take that picture. You don't know who's going to win the race going into the race.
That guy could have just taken out your guy.
Yeah.
on the last lap, and now you got to take a picture with them.
With them, right.
You don't know what you're going to, and they both have gotten very lucky there.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam is standing next to a guitar, and Chelsea and Justin got to stand next to the clock. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, it's an infield section. I don't even know if I can get down it. We don't know how to do that to get down into the infield for that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
We can look it up on the way there.
Yeah, we may figure it out if we have time. We were thinking about getting the pre-race thing, maybe, possibly, depending on how much time we have. The pre-race doesn't actually open until like 11.
It's going to depend on when we shove off and how traffic is and everything.
Yeah. But so then that takes up to the fifth one that we've been to. So this is like our thing now. We've been to the last 2 Martinsville races in the fall.
Because we made it a joke. We said, we got to go back this year because he needed it. And we're like, well, it worked the year before, so let's go back this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting there. We were on the benches, and the track is kind of in front of us and to the left. And here comes a little wagon being pulled to go down into the infield, and it was the clock. And I go, hey, look, it's Ryan's clock. And so, like, we're laughing or whatever. We go in, and this time we were in, like, turn 2-ish.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he wins. We go running around the track this time.
Now, you were talking earlier about fans, and now by this point there are way more Blaney fans too, okay, than there was in that first one that we were at Charlotte. And now with the headsets on, I'm not paying attention to people around me very much, but the last 6-8 laps I stood up, right? He'd taken the lead a couple laps earlier. It was looking like a ball game as long as there wasn't a caution. I stood up. I think you may have stood up. And the guy behind me didn't get to see the end of the race. And I might have apologized if he would have said something nice, but he was kind of nasty. And
all he had to do was stand up.
Yeah, and he turned around, and I turned around, and he saw what I was wearing, and he was like, oh. He understood then. He understood who I was rooting for and why I stood up. And then I think he understood how big of a guy I was at that point. But
it was also, it's not the championship race, but it's going to tell you who gets into it's still a big race. There's a lot on the line on that race. So yeah, stood up.
Yeah. So I don't, he was mad about his guy losing, I think, at that point anyway. It might have been a Larson fan that was salty. I don't know. But yeah, so that was kind of cool that we were able to once again we made our way over, and you're fighting the crowd because you're going the opposite direction of the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd is all trying to leave, and you're going across them to get over to where your name.
I'm like holding on to like his bag. I'm like, just go, I'll catch up. I know where to find you. And then we stood down. We did stay down there until security was like, hey, can you guys leave? But I mean, not just us. There was a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. But that's when so they're down, like, here's the mobile victory lane. And then above it is that, like, Jumbotron thing. Mm-hmm. And, the screen. And they're showing Belle. And,
the drama.
And, yes. And we had, first of all, we didn't notice it at first, even though it was huge. We did not notice it at all. And then, it wasn't until we got out and we decided to sit on those benches again because we thought, well, maybe some of the crew will come out and we can like, hey, to the crew. And then we started, like, of course, we're on like Twitter and we're on TikTok and we're on different and we're like, hey, what's happening? What? Oh. And we had no idea.
No, we didn't really have much of an idea. And what's kind of interesting about that is like it kind of like takes the fire away from the thing because the first social media thing we'll do, it's like post-race this weekend. We get back to the car and we're just sitting there. We like to pull up the teardown. Jeff and Jordan will do the teardown. They do it live on YouTube.
It's a good indicator on how well we can get out of the parking lot. Mm-hmm. If we are on the highway by the time the teardown comes on, we're doing great. If we are still in the parking lot, we're not happy.
Yeah. And, the first 10 minutes or 15, 20 minutes of that is all about.
That's where we got a lot of the information.
Yeah, what happened, who was doing what on the track, who was holding who up, who let who by. All that stuff, and it's so funny. Like the documentary this year, the Netflix documentary does a fabulous job of splitting that into the 2 separate episodes. It's kind of funny. The first year of the documentary, the last episode was nothing but the championship. This time, they split it into those two things. They split into Ryan winning, great, super. His now wife saying that's the whole new quote, and then this next episode, the final episode, actually starts with that drama, and it kind of gives you that everything that happened, and the thing about, I don't know, was Bubba that came up to Ryan, or no, it was Logano came up to Ryan, and Logano said something to Brian about it's a whole S show back there.
Yeah.
And then he says what kind of sort of what happened. And then I think Logano made the joke, or Ryan made the joke. One of the two made the joke. Was like, "Oh, we're both in."
Yeah.
It's like,
but you could hear, like, in Ryan's voice, he
had no idea.
Like when he says it later in the press conference thing, he was like, "Hey, what happened?" Because he was like, "Wait, what?" When Joey's like, "Oh yeah, it's like a mess."
Yeah. So NASCAR then is talking about he was there for the Michigan, Brian winning Michigan a couple of years ago, and rooting for Newman. What's funny about that is somebody posted today. They were showing that race yesterday on that NASCAR channel. It's on Tubi, right? And they were showing that win, and then somebody noticed it and put it in our Discord chat that it was on Tubi at that point if you wanted to watch it. I, being the shameless person I am, I went back and I found which podcast it was, because I, on Monday after that happened, interviewed Josh Williams about the end of that race. And you got to go back into our past, past podcast feed, and you can find it, the Michigan win, and it'll have Josh the first 10 minutes of the episode. I think there's nothing but me interviewing him about what they did, how to block those runs, and the different things they did to win that race. So that was kind of a cool thing to get that perspective from Josh too. I don't know if there's Justin. I don't know if Justin was in there and they showed up. Okay, because I know got a couple people watching. If you guys, like I said, if you're watching on YouTube or you're on Facebook, you want to type something in, say hi. Any questions, anything you guys want to talk about tonight, let us know. We'll be on here for a little bit longer maybe, but so those are the five W's we've seen.
Yeah.
I should have asked Justin like how many he was at Daytona, I believe, when Ryan won the Daytona, because I think he had some cool pictures of him on the down the track there. So
hey Justin, how many wins have you seen?
How many wins?
You said I should have asked him. Well, I'll just ask
right there. He's right there. He's on TikTok. Yeah. So you guys, if you don't, if you're on TikTok right now, let us know which races you've been to that if you've gotten lucky enough to see your driver win.
Ryan is not the most of a driver we've seen win, right? Is he tied?
No, he is.
It's not Larson.
I
know, but I don't want to go
your
through
phone.
him.
It's on your phone. I would do it on my phone, but my phone's a little busy right now. But that's a great question actually, because I did go back and I put together a document of Chelsea. I took those pictures. I should have known that, Chelsea. Yes. So they were at the Daytona win for sure. Those were fabulous pictures. I think that was the picture you made the thing from, right? Okay, so Daytona, Phoenix, Martinsville, number 2, Roval. Oh, you were at the Roval win. Okay, Dega was there for the 2019 Dega. Okay, cool. See, there we go. That's a pretty good list. She's going through all the races we've been to now. And that one's like Larson.
4
for Larson, right?
4 for Larson.
Yeah, so we've seen Ryan 5 times, win, Larson 4, and it was cool. If you guys saw any of the stuff yesterday, Ryan was at Indianapolis Motor Speedway's golf course there, and I guess it's Barstool does a tournament or something, so he was at the Barstool golf tournament, and Body Armor mainly. Barstool and Body Armor have a pretty good partnership, and there's some cool videos on Barstool stuff, hitting a golf ball. That's funny, as I went back and found one of the videos and posted it on Discord that I have of Ryan hitting a golf ball with at his charity event that we got to go to. So we've seen Byron win the most probably. Dang, yeah, it's amazing. It's going to be usually a Hendricks guy. You go to enough races, it's either going to be Byron or see Daytona, Phoenix, Martinsville, 2, Roval, Dega was there for the 2019 Dega, which I think was what, Dent Wizard. Was that the 2019 Dent Wizard?
Yeah, that was the Dent Wizard.
Yeah, which is a very cool diecast to have. Yeah, so I don't know. What else is going on this weekend? What's the next race you guys are going to? That's probably a good question to ask everybody else, because for us, it's a no-brainer to go to Michigan. In 2 weeks, we're still thinking about kicking around. You took the day off after poking off already, haven't you?
No, I have the day off.
Oh, you have the day off.
I'm working Saturday.
Oh.
So I have the day off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're probably going to, Atlanta.
You guys are going to Dover?
And you guys are going to Dover?
We're going to Dover.
Okay, cool. We're going to
That's one of our new ones this year.
Yeah, once I get the tickets from them. They do that like the week before, I think, when you're doing the rewards program.
And I've already penciled in days off for Martinsville.
Yeah, speaking of, we should just start a GoFundMe for Martinsville, just to make sure we're there. I'm pretty sure we're going to be there. And if I don't use up all my points or can't use up my points on anything,
I might have points by then.
Well, the thing is there's at least the Xfinity race that the day before. Maybe we'll get to go to the Xfinity race too, because that's always practice and qualifying day too. So that's always cool to do, especially for that weekend. And then if they move the championship race back east here, maybe we'll go to the championship race in a year or two from now. Wherever it's at, fly to Miami.
Okay.
Or Phoenix. One of these times. Like somebody we know who just,
NASCAR said, obviously this one was huge. I feel like the 12 team can put them DNFs behind them.
Oh.
I hope so, because
long green flag.
That's why when they kept saying pressure, it was like, it wasn't pressure because they know they're a great team. They're all doing great. It's just these crazy things that were happening. And I think it just was like relief. Like, oh, finally, we can show off how good we are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part about it is just, because people pointed out that they think he could have won at least 4, if not 5 other races this year. We know that we had 2 engines hand grenade that were in races that either had led laps or was leading, and then a couple of these accident races were the same thing, where he was around it or near it. Atlanta, he got himself a finish out of Atlanta after getting spun out by, our buddy, the 77. So, I think it's probably one of those things like once you've popped the lid off, broke the seal, kind of a thing, now it'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Back to back is, doesn't.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot. It's happened for Bell did it this year. Right. But Ryan has actually done it. It's so funny because he did it the week we went to Daytona, but it was the Michigan race was the week before. And you had to work and you told me, oh, you should just go up there. And I didn't. I was like, no, I'm just going to stay here and, watch it on TV and darn it. So now he has to win.
I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if Ryan won and you were at work.
There. That's true too. Yeah. We see victories. We want to see them together, for sure. So, yes. And they were, I was going to say, you guys, how could you forget you were at the Coke 600? How can I forget? I wasn't there. Rain. So yeah, I don't know what else we want to talk about tonight. That was pretty cool little list to go through of all the victories. We actually sat and watched. There's some highlight reels on YouTube now where it just shows all the victories, and somebody updated it already. They have one that has Nashville on it already. Yeah. So there's one in there with actually it shows 15 different things because it shows the championship, winning the championship, even though he finished second. So there's 15 on there, and Texas should be counted too. Really, the All-Star win. Um, that that one there has got all kind of stories behind it that we're not, but the window net thing and all that stuff, how you got it back in,
bonkers
stuff. But so yeah, it should technically, it's been 16 Cup Series things, and then you saw Pocono. I didn't realize I forgot all about the Pocono truck race. I did. I forgot about that totally.
Yes, because there were like 37 restarts, and it was nerve-wracking. Every single one. Is he going to take the lead?
He went 3 in a row that year. No, it was just two wins. It was Michigan, and then it was Daytona. Yeah, and then he won. That was it. That was the 2 wins that year, I think.
But it wasn't it like second, first, or first, second. It wasn't. There was a second
in there somewhere too.
So
right?
it was almost like there was
almost
3 in a row, but there was a second in there.
You're right.
I think it was second, first.
I have to go back and look that up, but yeah.
Good trivia for you.
Very good. That was my memory is not always. You
said Atlanta, then Michigan, and Daytona.
Atlanta was the third one. Okay, so Atlanta was earlier in the year though. It wasn't back to back to back though. I don't know because the date. You've got the dates there and everything in that thing. Yeah, it was March. That one was in March, and then
Firekeepers was in August.
Right. So yeah, it was, but there were 3 wins that year. Yeah, I would say they were done for the year after the Daytona win. The logistics. Oh, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So I actually talked, and I'm going to brag a little bit here. I actually talked to Justin the other day about this. Justin Bosch works for Penske. He used to be one of Ryan's hauler drivers, and he is now with the Porsche program. And that's another story we'll tell at the end of this. But I asked him about that because I thought maybe he'd be helping out because Porsche, the Porsche program only runs certain dates and certain times and so forth. But actually, he can't. He will be at Le Mans for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Roger has 2 cars that race in Europe already in those Porsches. They're bringing one over, a team over from the U.S. They'll have 3 teams in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and Justin will be on that 3rd team he's like a tire specialist, does spotting, besides just driving the hauler. So he's definitely very important to that team, and he'll be over there. But I asked him about that with the logistics, and I guess they leave Michigan and they're meeting the trucks, and I think he said Laredo, Texas. So those guys will leave, and it's funny, but you don't realize this. The hauler drivers don't stay with the hauler all the time every weekend. Like Justin on with his logistics this week, having to leave for France yesterday. He flew home Saturday. Somebody else drove his truck Saturday from Detroit back to Mooresville. So they don't always stay there. So there'll be some trading going on with things where guys will trade off and then fly back and then fly in. So I believe whoever's driving the hauler from Michigan will be going down to Laredo with it, but I think they're picking up one of the other haulers. Like that hauler is actually leaving over the weekend, and we'll meet them there, and then they'll swap the haulers, or they'll swap the cars out of the haulers, one of the two, and then continue on. That other hauler will go back, get loaded up for Pocono, and so weird. The way you asked, very, very weird. You're right. They should have put city. It would have been way easier to do this whole thing if they were at least in the U.S. But yeah, I don't exactly know if that it was just when they could get that track in Mexico City or whatnot. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of like guys driving haulers, flying back to the States, or maybe flying in and then driving the hauler home. They have to put rosters out that the hauler drivers are included on the rosters, because if they're going to be helping with the pit stops too. So, you know, they have to be included on the roster for being there that weekend. And then if they're going to be on the pit stop that weekend. So there's a lot of things going on there that it's crazy that they're going to do it, and not just do it for just the Cup Series, but the Xfinity Series is making that trip too. So you're talking about another 30 plus haulers that have to make their way down there, you know. You have nothing to add. Justin, I got all excited because I know I talked to Justin and I actually asked him that question this week. I was asking him more about himself because I found out he was going to Le Mans a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really excited for them guys there because they got, here in the States, the two cars in the Penske Porsche program have like 2 drivers apiece to them. Well, 2 of those guys are actually on those European cars also. So they're losing 2 of their drivers to the European cars, but 2 of the guys will be still on the U.S. car, and then they gain 2 more guys from Penske programs that are already in Europe. So it should be a star-studded cast of drivers, and there's some things, like I said, with tires and so forth that he's developed some strategies that it'll be real interesting to see what it does in a 24-hour race there. We obviously know how good they were at Daytona's 24 hours. So hopefully Roger has pretty good success with because the Porsche program is brand new, and from year 1 to year 2, they made a huge jump. And Justin, he won't take credit for a lot of things. I'm sure he's pretty modest guy, but I think he had a lot to do with it because he came from the Cup side, and then he came from came from actually IndyCar at one point too. So he, had a lot of experience in other things, and I think he gave them guys like a blueprint of how it needs to work for them to be more successful. I see NASCAR Dennis saying he's going to be seeing Tim on Saturday. Well, definitely tell him you talked to us today because I'm a big fan of his, and he is really, really great guy. I said to him about trying to say hi to him on Sunday, but it's always a matter of catching him at the right time because they got to go up to the roof, and they do go up to the roof kind of like through the area there underneath the stands. So there is a possibility he'll come through the tunnel at some point if I was at the right place, right time. He said to call him. I don't know if I'm going to call him and bother him, just to say hi and take a picture, but it kind of depends. Once again, kind of depends on what time we're there too. Maybe if I text them early enough, No opinion on that.
I don't know.
Leave the guys alone, right?
Well, they got a big job to do.
Well,
that's my thing.
Well, he's a really nice guy, and he's totally friendly. He answers questions I have all the time. And luckily there hasn't been a lot of things lately. Actually, it's amazing how honest he can be. And I won't. There are some things that he will tell me, and I will not, put that in the world.
Chelsea asked if you remembered to turn the AC on.
Well, that's a great question. You can tell right now.
You came home at lunch.
Made sure.
Cranked it.
Made sure it was okay. And right now,
I'm okay from like here down. Here, I'm warm. My head is warm.
Really?
Yeah. I cannot feel my ankles or my feet because the air is down like by our feet, and my toes are absolutely numb. Yeah. But I'm much more comfortable than the other day.
The guys, it was really kind of interesting, like because I've gotten a message or two from Adam and Tara because they're on a vacation right now after the race, but he sent me a couple cool pictures. Tim stuck around, took a picture with them, Victory Lane. A couple of guys from pit crew. It's amazing how nice all these guys are. Oh, they saw your mom today, so they were. That's right, they're in Tennessee, so over near
that's cool.
Gatlinburg. That's awesome. So that's really, really cool. So yeah. I would say because Tim is from somewhere in like central Michigan, basically. That's where he started his racing career. Once again, 2 years ago, go back to one of our episodes from early in 2024, and you'll find our interview with Tim. So anybody who's not, familiar with the YouTube channel now has a good portion of the interviews starting last year are loaded on there. So I think starting like with Ryan Flores' interview.
But just every guy on the team, every person on the team that you guys have interviewed and we have talked to when we see them, everybody is super nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Cool. Very friendly, very nice. Yep. And when I got the time, and it's like I said, try not to bother. Like, it's so funny. Like, we met somewhere right after the All-Star wins when we actually met Jonathan for the first time. Got introduced to him. Actually met him in person, and he was like, I teased him like, oh, when you win, I want to have you on the, and that year. That was the long-suffering year without a win.
Yeah, it was almost like,
yeah,
did we curse him?
Yeah, and what it was the next February, before they really got rolling, we did interview him, and very giving of his time. It was very, very cool, and it was kind of cool to get it out of the way. Like, we like doing the interviews to show people like what it takes to get there, and where these guys came from, what kind of racers they are, and but I would tease him from that point forward, because then I would say, hey, if you win a race, come on again. And what he would do at that point is he would then deflect it to somebody else on the team. He wanted us to interview other guys, and it made sense. It's like, after Daytona, when Ryan, actually that happened, that was the first one. They did not win that race. But that year, actually, we interviewed Raymond Fox III after that Daytona race, that they fixed the car, got back into the race, and then actually made sure they made the playoffs. And we did the Raymond interview, and then we got invited to Darlington by the team to be on pit road and so forth. And Jonathan said the nicest thing that day. That was the day we were standing, which we never. This is the only time we've ever gotten to do it. Was Darlington, and it was the week after we do that interview with Raymond. We're on pit road with those guys that do the ceremonies and things like that, and you go to wish them luck. And I says, hey, I want to thank you again for setting that up. That was really, really cool. Thank you for doing that. It really turned out great. And he goes, I know, we listened to it yesterday. And it was the best thing you could ever say to me. I lit up like a Christmas tree. It was just so cool to know that they got to hear it. And, that it's not just other people, that the guys in the garage, and the guys on the team liked it. And from that point forward, he would, like, if we've had Tony Palmer on, his head engineer, and then we had Chris Conklin the next year after they won that Talladega race that we were at. And that was an amazing one, because if you go back and listen to it, we asked Chris about, what he thinks, and he says, we're going to win it all. And he, and then they made it happen. So, these guys are, and so cool that they're able to, have a little bit of time for us and get away with it. I don't know if I want to say it quite like that, because sometimes media things can be, and we don't claim to be like media, we're kind of like cheerleaders really sometimes more than anything else. Very niche, obviously, we're doing stuff about one driver every weekend, not the whole sport, although we talk about the whole sport. But yeah, and ask Carl Dennis, go ahead and do that, because I do get, with like the Facebook stuff, I will get those messages. And I know that he's got talking about the Blaney merchandise hauler there. I don't know where the Family Foundation tent is, but if it's like it was set up at Nashville, it might be right near it. So that'd be really, really cool too. But yeah, so this year I've been trying to not bother the guys that last year or so after they win a race, because we've interviewed pretty much everybody. I can always say, like, I'm sure.
But if any of you are watching and you're listening, people just don't want to bug you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the thing. I'm kind of like at the point now where I'm just, I've been like a little bit, because I usually set up all the interviews, and what's the term you use for me?
You're a golden retriever?
Yeah. And I get a little bit overzealous sometimes with it, and I kind of think, oh yeah, well, if they do it, they want to do it. Sure, you want to do it, And even like tonight, I was like, I could have asked and seen and probably would have gotten turned down, but sometimes you just keep asking and you never know too. But these guys are working hard during the week too.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they just got done with that. Today they had their victory thing today. Usually it's on Tuesday. Of course, Ryan was golfing Tuesday in that special outing. But anyway, so they had their thing at the shop today, where they do their victory celebration and they have lunch and so forth for everybody at the shop. They put pictures out online. They had Hunt Brothers Pizza, by the way. Have you ever had it?
No.
I know it's a sponsor. I think I've had it before because it's like usually gas station.
So many pizza places around here that even if you tried to get to all, it would take you a while to get to them.
But you're not going to find
there's Hunt Brothers Pizza near here.
In a gas station.
It's in a gas station.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta go to the gas station to find it. It's not like a pizza.
But they do
place.
have it.
Yeah.
Down by work.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, I mean, we've interviewed every member of the pit crew, including the new guy a couple weeks ago. So yeah, unless Jonathan would say to me, "Hey, you haven't interviewed this person yet," and I'd love to. I mean, some of the older interviews are only in audio form, unfortunately, just because back then we weren't really planning to do a lot more video like we are now. But it's kind of cool if you do go back and find, like, we interviewed Mule, Dave Nichols, who was tire specialist for them. So it's very, very cool to get to know all those different guys. And like I said, we can try not to bother them too much. I tried to congratulate everybody after the race on Sunday. I'm sure they get 10,000 things through their phones. So, and people that get back, it's really, really cool. And even when they just send a thumbs up, so I think, I'm not watching this here. Here we go. Oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. That thing on, so we got a couple people. I got Justin, and, never had Hunt Brothers Pizza either. Yeah, Keyston, yes, Keyston is fabulous. Keyston's doing an interview tonight. It might still be going. He definitely knows how to. He's got more golden retriever energy than me. He was going to be on Above the Yellow Line tonight at 7:00, and I tuned in for a couple minutes because but it's really kind of weird because Above the Yellow Line to me is just is just why is the name escaping me?
Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor. I don't know why it escaped me for a second. I can picture her face. To me, it's just Taylor, but it's not. There are other people. So, like, when I first popped in, there was actually another guy over there, too, to interview. I don't know who he was. So Taylor did all the talking anyway. So, you don't care who you're rooting for. Why does that keep popping out over there?
I don't know.
So if you've lost the live stream for a second, we're sorry. We'll try to get it back for a second. But, yeah, so you guys, definitely, if we're going to be at Michigan this weekend, like I said, for us, it's Sunday mainly. I already was thinking about the different things. We definitely want to try to get to the Ryan Blaney Family Foundation tent. I'll try and do a TikTok live from there if possible. Who knows? Maybe I'll do both lives. Maybe I'll do TikTok one and then separate, and then do one on Facebook and YouTube too, because I figured out how to do it with my phone with the restream. So if I do, look out for that. If you're not going to be at the track, that'll be earlier than the day though too. We wouldn't do that it might be like at 11 or 10:30 or something. I definitely know that we usually like to get to the tweet up, and I believe there'll be one this weekend. There hasn't been at every race this year because Bob.
They haven't been there.
Bob hasn't been at every race this year. Bob or Jeff will usually be the guys to run them. I think Jeff is going to be there because I think I saw something that Jeff was still on the East Coast somewhere. So if they are, that's great. If you guys get a chance to, he does have a, okay, well, there we go. That was great information by Justin there. Ryan does have a Ford performance appearance at Michigan. So
that makes sense.
That would, and that's, if you've ever not been to Michigan, you're going for the first time. Their area up there for like all the stuff, the merch haulers, and then all the other types of things is a huge area. So 4 nuggets of knowledge. There you go. Chelsea, nuggets of knowledge on us. Up there, Michigan's got all the merch haulers in one area, but then you keep going, and like the Ford stage, have the cars, have their cars, there'll probably be a Logano car out there. I think there was when we saw it. There's a Logano car at
Bristol.
Was there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, go take pictures with the cars and stuff like that. But yeah, if Ryan, and the funny thing about that is like it's hard for like them to do 9:45 to 10 a.m. It's gonna be that early. Okay. Well, now we have a goal.
I gotta get up even earlier.
Now we have a goal. You can sleep in the car.
I will.
I'll go over there and get some video.
Okay.
I'll throw it up on some things. So yeah, that's definitely now I have a goal. Thank you for that. Just wake up with the chickens. That's right. I'll be up earlier than that. I probably won't sleep Saturday night. Probably too excited to go. We love going up there. So yeah, that'll be the main thing, and then if we do if there's time and we decide to go head onto the track, that's kind of a cool thing too, because you go down through the tunnel, come out on the other side. It's where that red carpet area is.
Ask Carl. Yes, we hope to see you.
Okay. Yes.
We'll try to.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Yeah.
When we get there.
We'll have how many stickers and magnets do we have left?
We have a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have the stickers and magnets to give away.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to see if we could try and get a hold of somebody like one of the guys from the team or something too, and run into them somehow. But that's kind of hard to do because of the way they do it and where the pit stall is going to be and stuff like that. But if it sets up just right, who knows? We might be able to say hi to one or two of the guys from the team, the pit crew or something. So 6 a.m. at the parking lot for the really that I know the parking opens at like 7 a.m. on Sunday, I think.
We're not going to be
that early. But
even if we had a hotel room in like Toledo, we're not getting there that early. That's not happening.
But if we got there by 9, that would give us enough time to get over to the Ford stage.
We could definitely do that.
Where they park, yeah. So, kind of depends if you take the toll roads or not.
We can.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's expensive now. I don't know how expensive it is to go across Ohio now. We'll have to look at that. But Stenhouse is before Ryan. Oh, okay.
That one might be interesting.
Yeah. So hopefully they ask him good questions about other cars that run near him sometimes. So yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, get the pre-race pit pass. See, we did it last year. Have the bottle up there real quick. We had.
I can't reach it.
We had. We got them last year, and we ran into. Who we run into last year?
That was from Justin, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Chelsea,
Justin. It was Chelsea and Justin.
Right.
You made it sound like I didn't know who it was, and I'm like, oh no, it's them.
And what was really cool is they gave us the bottle, and we went over, got those passes and went down onto the track. And somewhere there's some really cool pictures. I don't know if you posted of the bottle on the track with the track in the background. It was a really great setup that you came up with.
When we get off here in a minute, I'll send them to you and you can put them up.
I'll put them like in the Discord chat or something like that so that people can check them
out.
But
it's sitting on the track.
Yeah, it's sitting on the track. It's a really, really cool picture. Actually, I'll put it in, if you're on Facebook right now, I'll put it in that Facebook chat for sure. Right below once we get off the air here. But yeah, that was thanks to Justin and Chelsea.
Yes.
For,
and we finally emptied it.
Yeah, we emptied it out, so that's just a little bit of water in the one hole that wants to come out, but you get it out with centrifugal force or whatever. Look at that, it's like a shaker.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So yeah, that was kind of cool. Getting that pass, and we went over far enough where there was nobody around and nobody in the background of it, and then took this picture like down the track going toward turn 4 of the bottle sitting on That was all your
That was
idea.
really cool.
That was a really good idea. So, yeah, I think that'll probably do it for we do an hour here. But if anything during the week, you guys leave a message. I do have access to like the Facebook messages. I'll try to answer them sometimes, the private messages, and TikTok definitely. If you don't have TikTok, you have TikTok. If you message me through TikTok, the Team Blaney page, I definitely get those messages. That's kind of how I actually set up Keyston's interview, believe it or not. Keyston's a big TikTok guy. Found a couple other people that are big TikTok people. It's kind of cool to know that they're watching them, because the TikToks have been different things, and this week was a lot of fun because it was all stuff Adam sent me from the track. So hopefully we can do the same thing this weekend coming up and have some good pictures of an exciting back-to-back, So, alrighty. So cool.
Oh, I'm Kate, and that's Steve.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hello.
We So do you want to tell the short version of the story of how we met, real quick, for those who don't know?
Oh, let me put my stuff back
I
down.
know. Good. Real quick.
We both entered a contest for Tommy Baldwin Racing, and you had to take a picture with your favorite driver's gear, and we both had on Dave Blaney / Tommy Baldwin Racing gear, so we were both winners of Pocono tickets. So my mom and I drove out to Pocono, and we ran into you because I had looked at all the winners, and I saw you were the only other person that had Dave Blaney stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
We met you at the will call window, and that's where we met.
That's where we met. We actually met because of
And we were just
Tommy Baldwin and Dave.
Just racing friends.
And Dave Blaney.
That's how we were for years.
Yeah.
We're just racing friends.
Yeah. And then it just made sense at that point. Once Ryan
3 years later.
Yeah. It took a couple of years. But we were always talking. We actually went to Sharon Speedway once or twice.
Yeah.
Because I used to get free passes and stuff through work. And I knew she'd be interested in going there to see Dave run. They were running.
Chelsea, if I find the picture, when we got married in Vegas, we went down to the Bellagio fountains to get pictures taken. And I took the jacket that I wore in the picture to win me my tickets, and he took the hat that he wore in the picture to win his tickets on the day we met, and we put them on. Like, I put mine over my dress, and he put his, with his tux on and stuff, or suit, and we took a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's somewhere floating around, so we'll find it. I'll send it to you.
The hat, I know where the hat is. I got the hat mounted on the wall in the garage with all the hats.
My jacket's hanging up in the closet.
All right, good. That's good to know too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was really weird because I think they gave away like 8 or 10 winners, and everybody else's picture was like, oh, an Earnhardt hat, or Jeff Gordon this, or Dale,
Yeah.
And we were the only two of all the people that won those tickets
That were actually wearing
Tommy Baldwin or Dave
Blaney
Blaney
stuff.
stuff, and that was actually Tommy Baldwin specific.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dave was driving with him for him at that point.
Yeah. And
I got one more little story about that and I should post that picture somewhere too, or take a picture of it. In the garage, in the year or two after, I had bought a piece of Dave Blaney sheet metal. It was the number 7 from Tommy Baldwin Racing. Some of the races he ran for Tommy was with the number 7, which is, if you know anything about Tommy, that's his number. With all his different cars and different series. But that 7 was just a black car, white number 7 with like an orange outline on it. And then there was like one sticker on the door. And we went to Sharon Speedway one night, and I brought it. Mm-hmm. And we went over and we had Dave sign it. And Dave actually authenticated it for us. What he said was, he says, "Where'd you get that?" Well, first off, I said, "Well, I bought it online on eBay or something." I had no idea that, I paid, you got to pay extra for shipping and those kind of things. But truthfully, I got it pretty inexpensively compared to what sheet metal goes for. And he goes, "Well, I tell you what, that's from Pocono," he said. "Oh, how do you know that?" He says, "Well, and I tell you why." He says, "That sticker there, that's the hotel we stay at."
That's where
the team stays at when they're at Pocono. So what it was is they trade the stay at Pocono, the stay at this hotel, for advertising on the car. and it was on that door that I had. So it may have been from the race we were at, believe it or not.
Could have been.
I kind of went back and looked, and
Now, didn't the guys from Pocono give us that?
yes. Do you want to take that
Like
down
once we
real
got
quick?
married?
Yeah, you want to tell that story real quick too? You can go grab it.
it.
Grab it down here. So those pictures she was talking about, like that we took at the Bellagio with the hat and the jacket on, she tagged them.
We tagged Tommy Baldwin Racing, Pocono, anybody I think we could think of. We
Yeah.
tagged all of them.
After we got married.
And Pocono got a hold of us, and they sent us to Cohaven for the weekend,
Yes.
and they did a little thing on us. It's still on YouTube if you
Okay,
want to
well,
watch
what it was they were doing a cooperative crossover with Cohaven Resorts,
Yes.
and it was like Love and the Poconos and NASCAR racing kind of a thing. And they wanted to tape a segment with us that they would put on the Pocono website. It's called Pocono: A Love Story. If you want to type that in and then put Pocono Raceway, and it's in the Tricky Triangle Chronicles. And what it was is us explaining how we met, and
Pretty much what we just did.
what we just did, right? So they did. They sent us out there, paid for a night or two at the hotel.
The weekend. We were there for the weekend.
Yeah, really.
We got
really
one of
cool.
those champagne towers rooms.
Tape the whole segment with the guys from Pocono Speedway. It was really, really cool. But they also gave us one or two little extra things.
Yeah.
And this was one of them.
So I don't know if you can see, but they had
It was autographed.
Ryan autographed it.
Yeah, it was.
So we thought that was really cool.
Really cool. They just, they gave us like a little. Yeah, there was a T-shirt or something too, right?
You know what? We should see if Dave will sign the other side of it.
Darn it!
Since we were going to be right. We were Ryan fans, but we were there
to see
Dave. We should get him to sign it too.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. So
8 years later.
we're not thinking very well. The first, Adam and Tara get that cooler, and the first thing I think of is Ryan has to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not thinking very, very quick there.
Yeah.
I think I should wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah.
And that was a good story to tell too at the end here. So so hopefully we see a lot of people Sunday when we get a chance to.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check
Come
out.
find us.
Yeah, we'll like I said, I know where I'm going to be at certain points in times, and hey, the Ford Performance stage, if we get there quick enough.
And we're always on our phones. We always have our phones in our hands. So
you may have to, hey,
yeah,
Mez,
get a hold of us.
You say Mez, there's only one Mez. That's two Mezes that'll be at the track. So you say Mez, my head will snap around pretty quick. So
okay.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you guys. Monday night at 8:30. Once again, don't forget Monday nights at 8:30. Team Blaney podcast live here, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and TikTok. And check out this past week's if you haven't seen it yet. Kate and I did the show this past week because Adam and Tara once again were out of town, and it was a Team Mez takeover, and it was the only thing about it, in hindsight, we'll say it was a very detailed note-taking session. So be ready for some detail on the notes. I got to scale back somehow.
Grab your snack.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be like that though. For some reason, I just knew that the race was going to go well. So I was just like every little thing. I'm writing that down, and maybe I ought to go back and like highlight and edit things sometimes. But it was really good to have, and I think you'll enjoy it if you're deep into the weeds on stuff like that. So. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you, like I said, Monday night, and we'll catch a bunch of you hopefully Sunday as we go back to back at Michigan.
Good night.
Shut that off. Oh, down here.